Hey, welcome to Caffeinated Kalliope, my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be going over the Building Brick Fractions product from my Teachers Pay Teacher store, which is also Caffeinated Kalliope. My name is Callie. I'm a national board certified teacher, and I'm spending the summer making products I'll actually use in the fall. The Building Brick Fraction Task Box is a hands-on approach to learning fractions where you can use real building bricks to help build fractions or just some resources you already have in the classroom, such as dry erase markers. Just so you know, the video is structured in a way that has timestamps, so you can skip around to the parts that you feel like you'll need for using this product in the video. When I go to use this product in the fall, it'll mainly be to reinforce the idea that students can build and model fractions either concretely or representationally. You've secured your materials potentially and you're ready to get started. When it comes to getting started, looking at this product, you want to make sure that you're using the task cards that are appropriate for the grade level that you teach. For example, in North Carolina, our third grade standards only go up to denominators in the eighths. And so I may not use the task cards that have anything beyond eighths, such as tenths and twelfths. That's in the advanced box or the 20ths bundle. I think it's always important that you model your procedures and expectations first. So for example, if you're going to be doing this concretely, students will be given their individual Lego boxes that has all of the pieces that they need inside. When they go to pull a task card, they will look at the brick and they will pick which one needs to be used. They'll look at the word and standard form of the fraction to show what needs to be modeled. They'll grab the pieces from their kit and build on top of the brick to represent the fraction. If we're doing this representationally with the dry erase markers, then we'll do the same thing. We'll grab the task card, and instead of grabbing pieces from an individual kit, we will use the dry erase marker to shade in the fraction value of the word or standard form fraction on that task card. There are some different parts to the product. There are labels for large boxes. There are individual box labels for working up to 6 to 8s to 20ths. There's also key cards for each so that you know how many pieces are supposed to be in each individual Lego box. And then there's also an editable Canva link so that you can edit the quantity that you need for the building bricks that go in each box if you're going to be doing it concretely. And then additionally, there's an answer key so that you don't have to figure out the math on your own when you're checking your students' work. It's important for you to know that the big part of this product are the task cards themselves. Those are the problems that students will actually be solving, whether they're using the concrete or the representational method. I think the best use of this product would come after you've already given your introductory lesson to fractions or your basic fractions lesson so that students understand the concept before using this product. I think it's a good guided practice tool, and I think it's a good reinforcing the understanding of fractions, but I wouldn't substitute your actual fraction teaching with this product. So my intention with this product is there's only so many concrete ways to show fractions, whether that is with fraction tiles, cutting up chocolate bars, pizza, apples, etc. Most of the elementary content you'll see for math is representational. So oftentimes there will be a model that students are expected to know and understand. That is why this product includes both a concrete and a representational approach, since it's kind of hard to find some of the concrete methods to teach fractions. I do briefly want to talk about the concrete representational abstract approach to teaching mathematics. The concrete representational abstract approach to teaching math is evidence-based, which is why I've spent so much time in this product giving both models. Concrete representational abstract is one of the best approaches to use for teaching students with disabilities, and oftentimes what works for that population works for most all other students. If this is your first time hearing about the concrete representational abstract or CRA approach of math, a good guide is concrete is anything you can touch or manipulate to solve math problems. Representational is anything that's kind of two-dimensional, anything that will show the model of math or fractions or problem solving. Abstract is looking at fractions in their standard form, a numerator and a denominator, and being able to understand the value of that fraction. In my 6 years of teaching, I haven't really come across any big interventions or frequent interventions for fractions. So while this isn't going to be a standalone intervention, because it does follow that CRA model, it will be good for students in teaching prerequisite skills in fractions. So it's not an intervention, but it is a supplemental support for helping students understand the value of fractions. Some general ideas for use that I have when I go back in the fall is I'm going to be teaching this in small groups with my students. I think that small groups would be the easiest method to teach in order to keep kind of track of all the individual Lego pieces and make sure that I'm managing behaviors when it comes to working with this type of product. If we're thinking about the 2 ways to use this product in objectives, if we were going the concrete way, the objective would be that students will be able to take the task card and they will be able to use manipulatives to build and represent the fraction on the task card. If we were doing it representationally, the idea would be that students could take the task card and then use the dry erase marker to model the fraction that is supposed to be shown on the card. The first option for use is the concrete method or the concrete way. This involves actually setting up individual boxes for the students to use in order to build and model the fractions on the task cards. This is more time consuming and it is more costly than the representational method, but it does give that tactile approach to fractions if students need it, and may also better benefit the students that are having a difficult time understanding the part to whole relationship. If you're going to use this for the representational approach, all students will need to do is grab the task card, read the directions with the word form and the standard form of the fraction, and they'll just need to use the dry erase marker to shade over the brick the fraction that matches the word and standard form of the fraction. They can check it with a peer or they can check it with you to see that they've done a good job before moving on to the next card. In the fall, the procedure I would use for teaching is as followed. I would model the expectations with the building bricks and model how to solve each of the problems. Students would have their individual boxes if we were doing this concretely, or their dry erase marker if we were doing it representationally. A student would then pull a task card. They would be able to see, show this number on your brick, and then they would either shade it or build it. So you've decided that you wanted to use the concrete method. Here are the materials you're going to need to get started. You're going to need the actual task box. I got them from Hobby Lobby. That's the cheapest place I've been able to find them. You'll need some type of building bricks or Legos, laminator, laminating sheets. You can use Velcro or tape for the labels, and you'll need scissors. If you're going to go with the concrete method of teaching, there are some tips that I have for you to save money when it comes to getting the products for this actual product. The first would be add these items to your Amazon wish list if you don't already have one. That way somebody else can potentially purchase these items for you. Additionally, Legos are a name brand, so you may want to look for building bricks or Lego dupes in order to find a cheaper cost for the pieces that are needed in this bundle. And then lastly, I got my Legos from a store called McKay's, which is a secondhand trade or bookshop, and they gave a half-gallon bag for $12. So I was able to get a lot of pieces for a little amount of money just by going to a secondhand bookshop. A quick tip on saving money, because as teachers are always about saving money, most of these items can be found on Amazon. So if you are already going to create a teacher wish list and add products to your Amazon cart, this is a good way to maybe have somebody offset the cost of the products. The next step in getting started would be to take a look at my product as a whole and determine what parts of it you actually need. So for example, if I was teaching third grade in the state of North Carolina, our denominators for third grade standards in fractions only go up to the 8th place value. So I may not use the advanced 20ths box for my third graders or groups working at a third grade equivalency. I may save those for a later time or use them during group instruction. But when it comes to what the student would be able to do independently, I would only limit it to the 8ths box. Additionally, if you're just getting started with the product and want to get comfortable with it, it's perfectly okay to just start with the basic box up to the 6th place. That way you can gradually build in the rest of the cards and not feel overwhelmed yourself when you're starting to teach with this product. So in the fall, when I go to use this product, one of the things that I'll be doing is modeling and teaching the expectations first in order to help with behavior management, making sure that they understand what it is we're going to be doing with these task cards and these individual Lego pieces. So for example, I will be giving my students their individual boxes, and then as a group, we may pull a task card and they will be responsible for using the pieces in their box to find the matching brick, which would be the denominator. And then in word form and in standard form, there is the fraction that they are going to create. So if I was using it concretely, they'll use the individual bricks from their task box. Or if they are doing it the representational way, then they'll be using the dry erase marker to shade in the fraction part that matches the word and the standard form of the fraction. I do think when you're starting out, it's important for this to be kind of a teacher facilitated, guided practice type of instructional format before you just give these task boxes to the students and expect them to independently use the manipulatives to solve math problems. You definitely want to make sure that they understand the expectations, make sure they understand what the bricks are for, and make sure they understand how to represent fractions adequately or correctly on the bricks. So make sure that when you're first introducing this, you're checking in to make sure that they're actually doing it right. Then as they get more familiar with the product or the brick kits, they can start checking with each other, and this can start to be a more independent station or a group task box as opposed to it always having to be a teacher facilitated lesson. Let's briefly talk about behavior management when it comes to using this kit. Legos are innately fun for students, and so students will be at times tempted to play with the Legos. That's partly what makes the lesson so engaging. However, in order to save yourself time, it's best to build those little boxes ahead of time so that students only have the pieces that they need in order to solve the task cards. If you have students pulling from a big bin of Legos, they're going to waste time looking for the correct pieces. They may be tempted to grab handfuls and start building their own creations out of it, which is for sure what building bricks are designed for, but not in the context of this lesson. Those individual boxes will allow students to only have what they need, saving you the time and saving the cleanup of a much larger bin. My recommendation again is going to be to make those smaller boxes because it's going to save you time in the long run. When I go in the fall to use this product or use this kit, my natural consequence will be if you are playing, then you're going to have to use the dry erase component as opposed to the actual Legos. If you're going to be using this kit for more of a representational approach, then you're going to need a lot less materials. All you'll need is some dry erase markers, laminating sheets and a laminator, and scissors. What you're going to do is you're going to print the task cards and cut them out. When it comes to getting started with the representational approach, all you'll need to do to get started is decide what task cards you're going to use. Are you going to use task cards up to the 6th? Are you going to use task cards up to the 8th or the 20th? You'll laminate and cut out those task cards, probably separate them into those 3 piles. And then if you're just starting with the 6th, you can slowly add in the 8ths and the 20ths to the stack as you progress throughout using the building bricks materials. Again, if you don't want to be spending money on these materials, please consider adding them to your Amazon teacher wish list. All it is, dry erase cards, erasers, laminator, laminating sheets. Having somebody else pay for it will be a lot easier than you having to pay for it yourself. While the concrete approach is time consuming, once you have it done, it's already set up. Putting in the time now saves you the time later. The representational approach is equally effective if you choose to do that. Please let me know in the comments if there was anything that you found confusing about this video or if there's anything that you need more help with. This product does only focus on number sense, but in the future, I do hope to have some more products similar that involve adding and subtracting fractions as well. If you like what you see in this video or like what you see in this product, please consider going to my Teachers Pay Teachers store at Caffeinated Kalliope. If you need to find me on Instagram or TikTok, my handles are at Caffeinated Kalliope as well. Thank you so much for watching.